Hi everybody, in today's video I am showing you how to make a beautiful lattice top for your pies. It's coming right up. Later on I'll be showing you my full apple pie video and tutorial, but for now I'm showing you part 3, how to make a lattice top on your pie. Hi everyone, I'm so glad you're here. If you're new, I'm Amy from Neurotic Mom Bakes, and I'm showing you my beautiful lattice pie top, and it is my favorite way to decorate pies, and it's easier than you think, I promise. I'm gonna walk you through all the steps. So I do have a pie crust tutorial. If you wanna go back and find that, I will also link it in the description box. So I already have that made, and I've divided it out. It's in my pie plate, ready to go. So I've left this untrimmed. However, for a lattice, you are going to want to trim this. I like to go, so it's just past the edge of the rim, and a really sharp knife helps a lot. Just be very careful. So we're just gonna trim, I'm holding the pie crust down with my fingers as I go around, just so I'm not pulling any of it off. Just wipe off the excess very carefully. Again, be very careful, watch your fingers. Just about have it there, okay. And don't worry, it doesn't need to be perfect. First of all, it's gonna be mostly covered up, but you will also be trimming it again at the end after the lattice is on. And pie crust shrinks just a little bit in the oven. Okay, save this. This is just gonna be a little decorative top, so it might be a little tougher because you're working it more, but it's just a little tiny piece. So don't worry about that, because you don't wanna overwork pie crust. I'm gonna set that aside, and I'm going to make sure I flour my surface really well. Lots and lots of flour. And I'm gonna keep a little flour nearby, and you'll see why. Okay, now I need to roll out my strips. So I'm gonna form this into a rectangle as much as I can. Flour my rolling pin as well. And we're going more for length this way. We want nice long pieces that will overlap on the center of that pie plate. You're gonna need to roll this nice and thin. You're going to need 12 lattice strips, 1-inch strips. So you need to roll this a lot thinner than you think. And don't worry if it's not perfectly rectangle. We can use the scraps and roll them out again. And I'll also use some of these odd shaped little ends. I'm gonna cut some shapes out. This is really quite simple, and it makes such an impression on a cake. It's just so pretty to look at. Okay, I went a little thin there. It's starting to crack. Okay, we'll stop right there. Now I have a clean ruler that I only use for food, and I have a pizza cutter that's just gonna make this job easier. So I'm gonna go right to the edge here, just cut my slice, and I'll line that up with that line. Cut another slice, and I'll just keep going down, cutting my strips. Be careful your thumb is out of the way. And fingers. Okay, 1, 2, 3, that gave me 6, but I have lots of leftover, and I'll show you how to use it. However, I want to cut out, for this pie, I'm making an apple pie, so I have a leaf here just because we're in autumn, and I'm just gonna cut out one leaf shape. I only want one. Okay, I'm gonna set that aside. Now I have a piping tip. I have my Wilton 1M tip, and I am just going to punch out a whole bunch of circles. And this is totally optional. I'm just dressing this up a bit. You can skip this part if you just wanna stick to the lattice. You can do that. But to be honest, I think this is easier than crimping. Crimping is tricky. Okay, that's all I'm gonna get for now. Save your scraps. And we are ready to start this lattice. I'm gonna move this out of the way. All right, now I'm ready to fill my pie, but first I am going to sprinkle a mixture of cinnamon and sugar. I have about 1/4 cup of sugar with a couple tablespoons of cinnamon. And I'm just gonna sprinkle the bottom with a little bit. Just gives a little added cinnamon sweetness, not too much, just that. And then I'm going to place my apples, my apple pie filling on top. Oh, if you could smell this, it just smells like Thanksgiving, holidays, family, Christmas, all that good stuff. Okay, if you're like me, I like more apple, less syrup. So I just was kind of trying to strain out the kind of that sugar syrup in there, but some like it really gooey and sweet and syrupy. Go ahead and pour that all on, but I like more apple. That's just a personal preference. All right, we're ready to start assembling. Carefully peel off your strip. If they get stuck a little bit, which mine are just a little, just get a cake scraper and just gently, there we go. Just needed a little extra help. I'm gonna start by laying one just off center. So I'm gonna do 6 strips. So this is not quite the center one, if that makes sense. And I like to just leave a little bit on one side and leave more on this side because I'm gonna trim that and use that for more strips. I'm gonna leave about 1/4 inch gap in between my strips. That one will go right on the end there. Okay, now I'm going to need to trim some of this excess to use to re-roll out 6 more strips. You only need 2 more long strips. So as long as you can get 2 more long ones, you should be good with your dough. Okay, this part is very important. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to peel back halfway, or slightly less than, every other strip. Then you're going to lay one strip across and then replace those strips. Then lift the other strips and lay another strip, again leaving about 1/4 inch gap, and then replace those, and then lift these first ones that you did. Again, I'm only going to need a little piece, and that's going to go right here on the end. Now I'm going to flip my pie around and just repeat the process. Okay, so I'm going to lift every other piece up. Get my long strip here. And then replace the strips. And then repeat with the other ones. All right, now I'm just going to trim the excess, and I'm going to cut out a few more dots for the top of my pie. So this one, you're going to cut right to the edge of the pie plate again. You can even cut slightly on the inside because it's going to be covered up. You need a little bit of an egg wash. So I'm just gonna crack an egg into here I'm gonna use a fork to whisk it up. And then you just need a little bit on the outsides. It's gonna help the little circles adhere. Don't skip this step because as it's baking, these little dots are gonna wanna like pop off. But if you press them down and adhere with this egg wash, you're gonna be just fine. Okay, I'm gonna start about right here. And I'm going to press gently, just a little bit, and I want it to overhang the pie plate, hanging over. So I'm overlapping them slightly and just giving them a gentle and pressing it down gently. Not quite done. Best part right here. I have my leaf that I made, and I'm just gonna get a little kind of a skewer or a toothpick just because I want some definition in that leaf. So I'm just gonna kind of make some lines. Totally unnecessary. You do not have to do this, but I think it looks pretty. Kind of score some little lines. There, that looks pretty. And I'm gonna use it to cover this kind of wonky spot right there, but it's dipped a little bit, so I'm just gonna use these extra pieces just to kind of give it, it'll be covered, just to kind of give it a little bit of a raised platform so this sits on it nicer. And I'm gonna get some more egg wash. Brush those a little bit, just wherever, yeah, just enough to get that little leaf to adhere. Ooh, isn't that pretty? So there is our beautiful lattice, and this will go in the oven at 350 degrees. After 25 minutes, cover it with foil and bake it another 25 to 30 minutes until it's nice golden brown. The reason why we cover it with foil is it will continue to cook on the bottom without totally burning the top, because this catches and burns a little bit more easily. I forgot, this is an optional step as well. You can just egg wash this and put it in, or I actually like to just sprinkle with more cinnamon sugar, and it just gives this beautiful caramelized color. All right, my friends, look at this beauty. I just pulled it out of the oven, and this is how our decorative lattice and little circle pieces turned out. Isn't that beautiful? Wouldn't you love to bring that to Christmas party or Thanksgiving? So, so pretty. So if you have questions about this tutorial, feel free to ask in the comments and I will come back and answer them, and hopefully you'll give this a try, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.